know about you, but sometimes I don't like the terms of Jesus' contract. And I wish I could go to him and say, Jesus, I don't like this. I'm going to add some small print down here that says, Dave Boyd may at any time decide not to da-da-da-da-da-da. Or Jesus, I'm going to say, you must give me this, 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 and this in order for me to fulfill my end of the contract. No, God doesn't do that. He doesn't deal in contracts with us. Jesus says, if you want to follow me, come after me. You know, what does this look like, though? Coming to Christ. I want to retell a story for you in these next couple minutes of someone in Scripture who came to Jesus on his terms. And it's a story from the crucifixion scene. And I'm going to be telling the crucifixion scene from the viewpoint of the thief who died beside him. I know my crimes. They're real. And so is my sins. I know my victims. And I've seen their sufferings. And I could give you a lot of reasons why I did what I did. But you wouldn't care. It's too late for me. And now I will bear my own suffering. And I'm ready. I want it to be over. The weight, the uncertainty of what happens after death has driven me to the point of madness. I can't bear it anymore. How could death itself really be worse than living in its shadow? When the day finally came, I was relieved. I would not die alone. There were 3 of us in all that were to make our way to the place of the skull. I could not believe the number of people lining the streets and following us from town. Little attention was given to me, for the angry crowds were focused on another. I had heard the stories. This man from Galilee, stories only the foolish would believe. Healing the blind, feeding the multitudes, raising the dead. These things were not possible. And now, I saw him with my own eyes. Oh, he was not lovely to look upon. His face and body were broken and bleeding. Yet, even in his condition, he wasn't defeated. He moved as yet with a purpose. I kept my distance from him as much as I could, hoping that I would not be aligned with someone so hated. We arrived at Golgotha. I never thought my life would end this way. We were tied and then nailed to our crosses, and I heard their screams of false prophet, blasphemer. Their constant mockery brought me sorrow. Not for myself, but for this King of the Jews. That's what the sign read above his head. And I began to wonder, could it be true? For this man, Jesus, lifted not a finger against his aggressors. And I heard him say, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. How could he offer forgiveness when they yet abused him? Why would he even care about them? Unless he really was the King of the Jews. Unless he really was the Son of the Most High God. Unless this man really did come to set them free. For such words of forgiveness could not be uttered without an unwavering confidence in who he was. And an extraordinary love for others. While I was trying to make sense of it, the other thief joined the crowd in hurling insults at him. In frustration, he yelled at Jesus, "Aren't you the Christ? Save us and yourself!" His bitter words unleashed within me an anger that had been building, and I cried, "Don't you fear God?" I shouted at him. "You are under the same sentence. But we are justly punished. We're getting what we deserve. This man, can't you see he's done nothing wrong?" I was not Jesus' judge. And I was no eyewitness to the scene of the crimes. However, each moment in his presence only further revealed his innocence. I cried out to him, Jesus! Jesus! He painfully lifted his head in my direction. He saw me. His eyes met mine, and they saw through the wall of darkness that had long separated me from others. He looked past my history, my nakedness, my shame, and my guilt. And at that moment, I felt as if for the first time in my life that someone knew me and understood. Having no pride left, I begged him, Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. You see, this was my last chance. This was my one opportunity to make right the wrong that I had made of my life. I knew I was helpless. But somehow I felt that with this man from Galilee that there still might be a chance. He spoke to me words that were water to my soul. Words that I will never forget. Words that brought freedom to one who was under the sentence of death. And he said to me, I tell you the truth. Today, you will be with me in paradise. Could it be true? Could such a place exist? Why would I be allowed there? Well, he, of course, he belonged there. But me? I cannot imagine such a place that I would be welcomed and that I would be forgiven. Tears rolled down my cheeks, falling down into the dirt below. I watched as his head fell again out of exhaustion and pain, and I knew that death was tightening its grip. How long could he endure? His body bloody and torn, his hands, feet nailed, the crowd jeering and mocking him. But there was another weight that he seemed to carry, beyond what I could see. Even creation acknowledged it, for I felt the earth shudder and the sky grow dark. And it was not long after that that I heard his final words. It is finished. I saw his chest rise and I sink for the last time, and I cried out to him, Jesus, no! No! There was nothing I could do. Nothing but watch him die. I was not so weak as Jesus, for there was no beating on my back, no crown of thorns. And as the hours wore on, I knew the soldiers would hasten my death. But everything had changed. The fear of death was not what it once was. It held not the power it once had over me. The fear of what lay before me had been replaced by faith in the one whose body hung beside me. And in his words, that today I will be with him in paradise. My prayer for you is that you will approach Jesus on his terms. And the last thing that you need to know if you want to approach Christ is this. Many people say, I will approach him later. But in Luke chapter 9, verse 59, Jesus said to the man, he said, follow me. And the man replies, but Lord, let me first go and bury my dad. Lord, please let me go and get married. Lord, please let me just live a few wild years on my own. Jesus is like, no. You follow me, and you follow me